Hey, I'm Dave, and today we're talking about my Waylander setup. Hey folks, there might not be another on the road video for a little while, so I thought I'd do some videos in the studio here, maybe about what equipment we use and our setups and things like that. And our equipment still isn't set up since the Warhorns Late Winterfest, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to show you my Waylander setup, as I am about to bring it back into the live room and set it up again. I've just walked into the storeroom here, and as tends to happen after gigs, you tend to just dump the equipment everywhere. Yeah, all these bags and this bag, and that's the Theigns Thralls merchandise. There's a snare drum, and there's Mike's kick drum pedals, Saul's guitar case, my guitar case from Theigns, and that's my whistle rack, so we need that. And this case, I think, underneath Saul's, let me just check. Yep, that's my Irish Bazooki, so we need that. And this. So I'll get that pulled into the live room. Okay, I've got the rack and the Bazooki case in the live room here, so I haven't actually looked in these since Warhorns, so you'll see it as I do, so I hope I left it some level of tidiness. Let's have a look. Okay, alright, all looks in fairly good state. So that's my Irish Bazooki. What have we got? This is a stand. I'll take that out first so I can set the Irish Bazooki on it. It's a Hercules stand that folds down. The reason I use this one is because it folds down so well, and some stands are pretty big and don't fold down that good, so that one fits in there nicely. So that's the one. And because I don't use the Bazooki for every song, I kind of need it sitting there just in the back, ready for when I do need to use it. So here's the Ozark Irish Bazooki. I'll get to that in a second. There's my tin whistles, my headset, microphone, the strap. Oh, what's in there? Oh yeah, the two belt packs. That is the one with the cable, is the one for the Bazooki, and the other one, it probably says, yeah, for the whistle. And that's just a spare cable in case the wireless fails. Batteries for the wireless. Tape's always good to have. A few bits and pieces. An air tag for the occasional time when the airport doesn't quite send it to the right place. But I just leave that in there. Right, let's have a look at the rack. So this is the back of the rack. I try to make it as foolproof as possible, so any sound guy who can read can figure it out. It's as simple as just the whistle XLR output and Bazooki XLR output. Then we've got our power and our MIDI input that goes to the MIDI foot switch. And there's the AirTag again. And I always leave at least one rack space open. I did have, years ago, I did have a rack that was completely closed. And I don't know, probably like with the first or second gig I did with it, a cable had come loose, and I had to go and ask for a screwdriver to take the screws out. So it's always good to be able to get in there and, you know, plug a cable back in. All this stuff, you know, this is all stuff you do in the studio or, you know, in the rehearsal space before you get to a gig. I try to streamline it for gigs so it's as simple as possible at the actual gig. It can be as complicated as it needs to be in here, but at the gig, I just want a plug and play system. So the rack's hooked up now, and hopefully when I turn this on, all the lights will come on. Yep. So far so good. So it's a pretty simple rack system. Just a 4U with the top one is the Line 6 V55 wireless receiver. That's 2.4 gigahertz. Yeah, I use that because I play in a lot of different countries, and different countries have different frequencies that are legal to use for wireless transmitters. So with the 2.4 gigahertz, it's the same frequency as like Wi-Fi, so it's basically legal anywhere. Obviously, I've got two of them, one for the Bazooki, one for the whistle. So let's do the whistle signal flow first. From there, it goes into the TC Helicon Voice Live rack, which is just a vocal multi-effects processor, because surprisingly, no company makes a rack mount multi-effects processor for a tin whistle. So I had to use a vocal one. So a few different settings. The first one is just normal whistle playing, and the next one is when I have to do backing vocals, so vocals, and then a mute because I've got a live mic attached to my face, and sometimes I need to cough or shout something at the guitarist or something like that. And yeah, then we used to do slower ones and things like that, but it's mainly just those three: mute, vocals, and whistle. This is all controlled with the pedal, and I can also, over here, I can also knock the delay in and out. On the pedal, I have a couple of switches that change this, and then I've got another couple of switches that knock the delay in and out, and occasionally I would have the harmonizer coming in and out, which rare occasions where on the album we did whistle harmonies, or in fact vocal harmonies. I do use it for that as well, but it's only a couple of times in the set. I would knock the delay off and on whenever we go into slow passages. So that's the whistle, and then it just goes directly from that to the XLR in the back. So that's the whistle, and then now we've got the Bazooki, and I used to go directly from this into a guitar multi-effects processor, and eventually after a few years I found I wasn't using that much stuff on it. I just had basically two different volumes and a bit of a compressor on it. Quiet for when I was doing strumming stuff, and the signal coming out of the Bazooki was loud, and then a boosted volume for when I was doing sort of picking things to follow a melody. And it turns out that this has a separate guitar input as well as the main vocal input, which I'm using for whistle, but it has a separate guitar input, and it can add compression to that guitar, and it doesn't have a vast array of effects for that guitar, but it does let you control the volume with it, which is all I really needed to do. So I got rid of the multi-effects then, because I'm taking this on flights all the time. I want it to be as small and lightweight as possible. In fact, it's still got its airline tags on there from the last time I was away. I think that was Milan. Okay, now to the bottom space in the rack. Over here is an MP3 player that isn't used anymore, but it used to be a backup for our intro music. So all it has is two intros for Waylander on it, and I could hit play on that and it would come through the output for the whistle. We use something else now, so that's sort of obsolete, so that can go. And then I don't know if you can see this screws here, and on the back of this is a small Furman power conditioner, which some people might say is not that important, but I learned the hard way that it is, because we went to a gig once that didn't have the most reliable power in the building, and none of the wireless systems would work, and I thought they had just broken, and I sort of came home and I had to use, for that gig I had to just plug in direct and use a microphone on a stand for the whistle, but it was annoying. When I came home, I was expecting to have to replace both these two units, but they worked absolutely fine when I got here, and when I tried them out at home. And I thought, what was different between this and the last time I played in the same place with a different band, and with the same wireless receivers, or the same type of wireless receivers. The only thing that was different was that they had been going through a power conditioner. So now that's a necessity. So it's a small one, and I didn't want to take up a whole big space and add more weight. Like I said, the weight is important for the flights. So on the other side of that is just like a 2-output Furman power conditioner, which powers everything. So that's the rack. Okay, I've got the rest of the stuff that was in the bags there. So we've got our wireless belt packs for both the Bazooki and the whistle, and the headset, which is a Bayer dynamic condenser mic. I can't remember what the model was because they've discontinued these, and they do fail every few years. Well, you probably get about 5 years out of one. I do anyway. And I've maybe had 3, and when this one fails, I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I've got one more. I originally was using the black ones, and now these are the flesh tone ones, and you can see that I've sort of blacked them out. Well, most of that's blue paint, but even the cable I've sort of made. I don't want the sort of flesh color one. It's not so bad here, but that just goes underneath the ears, and then this goes down the back of the shirt and into the belt pack. So that sits there and allows me to play whistle. That's all there is to it. The only thing is I have to play slightly to the side to get it as close to the mic as possible. Because with heavy metal, that's what you have to do. I mean, if there was a low stage volume, it'd be okay playing over here and just letting this pick it up. But there's not a low stage volume. So to the side, I have to get right in there. And it creates an awful lot of air noise, which when the whistle's playing on its own doesn't sound that good. But when everything else is playing, it actually helps it cut through a little bit by getting a sort of over the top, so it's not so bad. The only thing is, there's the capsule, and it's a condenser mic with a cardioid polar pattern, and that's why I like this one so much. Most microphones in this format are omnidirectional, which of course means they pick up everywhere. This one is cardioid, so it picks up basically just right in front of where you point that. It means I can point it right to where I need it to be, and it won't get any feedback from the rest of the stage. That's why I'm worried whenever I eventually do run out of these microphones. I don't know what I'm going to do, because I haven't been able to find one that fits that criteria and is also on the same side of my face, because I've been doing it for near 20 years now. That moving to the other side of the face would be weird. So we've got the MIDI cable and the power supply for the MIDI pedal board, which is the Singular Sound MIDI Maestro. I haven't had this that long, but I hate this thing. This must have been designed by someone who has no idea how it would be used by a guitarist in the real world. And I'm sure there's people out there who are getting by just fine using this. That's fine. For my purposes, it sucks. The old one I had, which was this one here, this, I don't know, 30-year-old beast, the Rocktron MIDI Raider. This thing is awesome, and it's built like a tank, and it is incredibly intuitive for what a guitar player needs, or not just a guitar player. It's obviously designed for guitar, but it's significantly more involved setting it up, but it actually allows you to set it up properly. And the only reason I'm not using this anymore, I used this for a long time. The only reason I'm not using this anymore is, once again, it's the size and weight of it. You look at the difference, you know. This I can get into the rack with the whistle. You saw me take it out of the back. It's a whole other case on the flights, which is just more hassle and cost that I'm trying to avoid, but it might be worth going back to this, because I could make a whole video on why that thing sucks. I'll not say any more about it now. Tin whistles. With Waylander I use 3 tin whistles. With Theigns Thralls I use 3 tin whistles, but they're 3 different tin whistles. Well, no, 2 of them are the same. Waylander primary whistle is this, which is a C whistle. These 2 red ones are rose whistles, which are fantastic. They use Sasato heads, but the body is rose whistle, which are fantastic. Most of Waylander's is C, because Waylander tuned down 2 steps to D standard. So most folk is done with this D whistle. Down 2 steps, it becomes a C whistle. And we have one song that uses the B flat whistle, and I'm just using Old Faithful Sasato, which I used them for years before I moved to Rose Whistle as my primary. But Rose Whistle is a very small company, and they weren't able to give me a B flat at the time. They did make some, but they sold out very quickly. And basically, when they make a whistle, I will take it. So here it is, the Ozark Irish Bazooki, and it's always a good idea to have strap locks and quick releases, so I don't want to have to faff around with this on stage or before a gig. So that just locks in, and you saw this side just clips and unclips, and that's it, ready to go. And of course it's got a preamp and a tuner and all that stuff in it. There's our output, and I use a small capo, which I think is actually a banjo capo, or possibly a mandolin one, but it's the right size for this. Just 1 or 2 of the songs needs that. And then I've got some pick holders on the back. That's everything that I use personally. I also bring, equipment wise, we bring this a Cyrus Stereo USB DI. It's a Bluetooth receiver effectively, that plugs directly into the PA via XLR. And this is what we use to play our not backing tracks, our intros. We have an intro at the start of the show, and occasionally there'll be one song with another intro. And we used to give them to the sound guy on a CD, and eventually it became more and more common that the sound guy would tell us, no, we don't have a CD player anymore. And it got to the point where they just started laughing at us for having CDs. So that's one of the reasons on the whistle rack about the MP3 player. But this is far better. We can just connect our phone to it, or any one of us can connect our phone to it, and just we'll be in control of it, just beside us in our pocket. And just hope that we don't get a phone call during the show when it comes through the PA. Well, I think that's everything in my Waylander setup, so I hope you enjoyed that, and if there's anything else you'd like to know, just let me know. There'll probably be some more videos coming like this. I've got my Theigns Thralls set up, my Rule of 6 set up, and there's always the other guys. So that's me for now. See you next time.